Hey everybody, it's Jim here, and today I'm going to be doing another Q&A from a viewer, this time a Patreon named Evan. He asked me, how do I balance life as a working musician, as a father, and as a YouTuber? Now, whether or not you are one of those things, none of those things, or all of those things, I feel there are some pieces of advice I might be able to give that can help you make the most of your time. Now I'm going to lead with the kind of music and guitar stuff first and transition to the other stuff afterwards. So, when it comes to being a working musician and preparing for gigs or preparing for studio work, I don't have all the time that I used to have in terms of being able to just mindlessly play whatever or have the iTunes keep going and going and going, and before I know it 4 hours are gone. That's just not an option for me. So I make a list of exactly what I need to work on. If there's only one part of a song that I'm struggling with or I really need to master or relearn depending on the gig, I will focus specifically on that. It is boring to do that. It is not exactly the most fun just playing the same thing over and over and over again. But when you're doing this professionally, you have to treat it as such. You can't just approach it in a way that, oh, I'll figure it out or I'll wing it, or maybe nobody will notice. And I know that's something that also can get in the back of some people's heads. You know, I'm only there playing background music or I'm playing covers. Nobody's there to actually see me. Is that really how you want to represent yourself? Because you never know. You could be playing to 5 people in a crowd. That one person in a crowd could see your live performance and you don't know who they work for. You don't know what kind of connections they have. So always putting your best foot forward and putting in the extra effort to make sure the little things with your musical ability and the performances that you're working on are as good as they can be. Now, transitioning that into how I approach YouTube, I save time because I know how all of my setup works. I'm doing a talking head video. That's basically what this is. I'm using my Sony DSLR that stays in the same exact spot basically on the desk. I just move it here and there for a little bit of perspective change on each video. I'm right into the same exact software. I'm using the same microphone. My lighting stays in the same spot. So it's just little things that I don't have to think about anytime that I want to shoot a video. I'm up and running within 2 or 3 minutes, no questions asked. And again, maximizing time, maximizing workflow makes things a little bit easier. When it comes to topics, I try to flush things out as much as I can and multitask when I'm not able to be filming. I think about what's one way I can tie this in, or what are some points I want to make, and I'm constantly making little lists so that I don't miss things that I feel are important, because when I first started doing this, I found myself doing that a lot, and there's a lot of videos that I feel I could have done a whole hell of a lot better, but that's the learning curve. And had I taken the time to better prepare these things and really flesh out some of these ideas, I don't know, maybe things could have been a little bit different for those specific videos, but you live and you learn. Now, the final part of the equation is something that not all of you are going to be able to relate to, but that's being a dad. My kid comes before anything else, and that's the way it should be. It's not always the way it is, and I see a lot of instances, not to be, on my high horse, because I am by no means perfect, but where the children kind of get put in front of a TV, put in front of this, passed off to this person, that person. And the whole part of being a parent to me is spending as much time as possible with my kid and engaging with my kid. It's one thing to be in the same room as your kid, but it's another thing to actually be there with your child. And that's something that I find precious. And the older that my daughter gets, the more I see the kind of innocence and the youth starting to go away little by little. And she's still always going to be my princess. And it sounds really lame, but it's true. And I just see her growing up, and I appreciate and I cherish every moment that I have where things aren't so complicated, because they will be one day. Now, I realize with those 3 topics, I gave a real baseline overview of each, my approach to them, and that kind of, personal advice and experience. So this next part is the part that if you take nothing away from this, this is the most important part. And this goes to anybody doing anything who wants to be successful in it. You have to take an honest look at how you spend all of your free time. Now, do you think somebody like Marty Friedman, one of the best guitar players in the world, spent 9 hours a night playing Call of Duty or FIFA or Madden or binging out on Netflix for the entire weekend, not doing anything to get where they are today? They sure as hell didn't. That's just not how this works. If you want to be successful at anything, that is being a working musician. That is being a YouTuber. That is being a parent. You have to cut the bullshit out of your life. Now, I'm not saying you can't watch a Netflix show here and there. You can't turn on a ball game, watch something that takes your mind out of something, because we all need breaks. But you really have to manage your time better if you want to be, as good as you personally can be. Otherwise, you will look back. And I find myself doing this because I didn't do this for a long time. And you'll say, what if I just didn't waste this time? What if I took advantage of having no responsibilities, of all these extra hours that I wasted playing video games? Video games are fun. I love playing video games. But, is it really something that you want to dump all this valuable time that you're never going to be able to get back into? If you want to be able to make multiple things work, you have to be able to multitask. And be able to multitask, you have to be able to, find out what's actually important to you. What do you want to achieve? And it starts with managing your time better. So how I do this, make lists. Really just, it sounds dumb and people have told you this your whole life, but even if you have to do a pro and cons kinds of thing, what do I get if I spend my free time watching Netflix? What do I lose by spending that free time? What could I be doing instead? And when you put it on paper and you're really honest with yourself, you might find yourself being able to make a change easier than you thought that can make a big difference in your life. Now I'm going to close this video out with one final piece of advice to Evan. You are expecting your first child. It's, a hell of an undergoing. Do you think you know what you're getting into? I'm not going to be able to prepare you. Nobody's going to be able to prepare you. A billion people are going to give you advice. The only thing that I would say is just, you're not going to sleep. For example, today, I had a fun day. We had a really productive day. I saw my daughter do her first live dancing and performance with her school for the Christmas play. That was fantastic. I was so proud watching her up there. Point of the story is we get home, we decorate the Christmas tree. I'm playing with her in her room. I don't even realize this happens. I fall asleep at 5:45. And I woke up around 9:45 at night. And my wife, luckily, we were really good at covering for each other. And this is all about having, a rock to kind of lean on and, pick up the slack for you and doing the same thing for them. She made sure that my daughter had dinner and all of that fun stuff, because lately she's been the one that's been, not feeling so great. So she's been sleeping way more than normal. And I've been doing a lot of the extra work. Today, it all just kind of caught up with me. And I was the one that kind of zoned out. The point being is, multiply everything that I said about managing your time, and it's exponentially more important once you have little sleep and all these extra responsibilities, especially the most important one of taking care of and raising a child in this crazy world right now. So cut out all of the bad activities, not necessarily all bad, but all of the things, just, you could still enjoy some stuff. Don't binge and don't waste as much time. And the last thing I'll say is another thing that, this is going to sound harsh, but cut out anybody that's not really a positive in your life. If you have somebody that every time you talk to them, you kind of feel yourself down, somebody that always just brings up something that, you don't want to talk about, they're just stuck in their own ways, let them go. You don't have to never speak to them again, but it's not healthy. And when we're talking about managing time, and I don't know how many times I've said this in this video, I'm sure that you are sick of me saying it, but it's so true. You really can't be afforded to be stuck down with somebody. Somebody has to be willing to pick themselves up. And if you surround yourself with more people who are doing positives, who are making the best use of their time, who are trying to become the best versions of themselves, whether that's a musician, a YouTuber, a dad, an engineer, no matter what that is, you will find that those habits will rub off onto you. And what's the harm in that? Absolutely none in my book. If anything, it's a major benefit and, helps you live a healthier life mentally on top of that. So I hope that gives you a little bit of insight as to how I manage to balance these things on a day-to-day basis in my life. And I say somehow because some days are obviously better than others. It is what it is. We're only human. Nobody is perfect. Tomorrow's video is going to be a throwback. I am bringing back a series for 3 episodes for the end of this year to celebrate 3 different guitars, and maybe if I would rebuy them or not. I really missed making that series, and it's been a long enough time that there's 3 I really want to go over. Tomorrow will be episode 1 of that. However, with that being said, thank you all for watching these videos. I really do appreciate all that. Like, comment, subscribe. You guys know the deal by now, and if not, I will see you tomorrow for another guitar related video. Take it easy.